Now at 5 o'clock on WKYT this morning, a fugitive from Georgia, allegedly found in southern Kentucky, is scheduled to be in court today. We're live looking ahead to the hearing.
And a crash in Jessamine County sent a man to the hospital. Police say he has very serious injuries. We'll have more on the details of the crash coming up.
Plus, we've learned more information about a double murder in Franklin County. The details on that investigation ahead on WKYT this morning.
This is WKYT This Morning.
Good morning. Welcome into you. Hope you're having a fabulous start to your Tuesday. I'm Rebecca Smith.
And I'm Sean Moody. Bill Bryan has the morning off. It's also WKYT First Alert Severe Weather Day. A little bit of weather moving in.
Yeah, and that's what we're looking at right now. We have a couple of showers outside right along the 64 corridor, heading down toward the south and the southeast. And these showers really falling apart. They were thunderstorms just about 2 hours ago, but now not really seeing much to go along with this. So just a light shower or two rolling through Bath County and also sitting there in Montgomery County. 83 by the afternoon is not about the temperatures. It's about the strong, potentially severe thunderstorms. It's going to be afternoon and evening hours. That is your best bet. I'm going to break down the timing for you. I'm going to show you where I expect these storms to move on in, because not everybody has the chance at strong, potentially severe storms. We'll get into that coming up in about 10 minutes.
Thanks, Micah. A Georgia fugitive arrested in southern Kentucky last week is scheduled to be in court this morning.
Laurel County investigators say they found Billy Birchfield living under a different name. WKYT's Mark Barber is at our live desk with the details. Good morning, Mark.
Good morning, Sean. And deputies say he managed to avoid authorities for 37 years. When detectives found the 67-year-old in Laurel County last week, he denied he was Billy Birchfield, and he denied he was a fugitive. Instead, he claims he's a man named Harold Arnold. Laurel County deputies think that's an assumed name, which belonged to one of his cousins who died. After a tip led detectives to the 67-year-old's house in London, he allowed them to run his fingerprints. According to authorities, his prints confirmed his identity as fugitive Billy Birchfield. Birchfield was serving a 16-year sentence for manslaughter in Georgia when he escaped from prison back in 1979. Since then, authorities say he has flown under the radar in Kentucky. Neighbors tell WKYT he owned a gas station and a restaurant in Laurel County for several years. The 67-year-old is expected to make his first court appearance today. He's being held as a fugitive in Kentucky until he's extradited to Georgia. From the live desk, Mark Barber, WKYT.
Mark, thank you. New this morning, a crash in Jessamine County sent a man to the hospital with what police called grave injuries.
This happened just before 11 o'clock last night on Highway 39 in Nicholasville. WKYT's Mike Byer is live with details on the crash. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm on Highway 39 where the crash happened. I'm going to step out of the shot to kind of give you guys an idea of how bad this single car crash was. As you can see right there, there's a hole in Faulkner and Fane. It's the business that the gentleman hit. And City of Nicholasville is out here right now fixing the utility pole, which is right in front of that business. Now, the accident happened last night at about 10:45. It was a single vehicle crash. Police say the car came around a curve and hit a utility pole and then hit a local business called Faulkner and Fane. There was only one person involved. He received what police are calling grave injuries. Police say he needed to be extricated and that it took a while to get him out of the car. A life flight was initially called, but was canceled once he was removed. Police say it's a 35-mile-per-hour speed limit where the accident happened, and that it's a tricky spot because you come over a hill into a curve. They say it appears speed was a factor in the crash. They also think alcohol could be involved and are looking in to see if that's the case. Now, the man's name has not been released, but we are told that he is around 25 years of age, and we do know that he is fighting for his life this morning at a local hospital. Live in Jessamine County, Mike Byer, WKYT.
We are following a story now out of Pulaski County. Investigators say a child died after a hit-and-run crash. This happened last night on Rocklick Creek Road near Science Hill. The Pulaski County coroner tells us a 10-year-old child was hit by a car, later died at the hospital. Investigators still searching for the driver of the car. We have put in calls overnight. We have not been told any new information at this point. Of course, we'll let you know as we do. More details on the crash could be released sometime this morning. We'll bring you updates as we get them on our website as well, WKYT.com.
And we have learned some more information about a double murder in Franklin County. Investigators have now identified the victims as Carolyn Barker and her caregiver, Jennifer Downey. Police say the women were found dead in a home on Pea Ridge Road Friday night. Now, a few hours later, police said they found Raymond Barker dead behind some businesses on Washington Street in Frankfort. Investigators have ruled his death a suicide. At this point, police are not ready to say if that is connected to the double murder.
We're going through every single piece of evidence that we can gather, collect. We're doing a ton of interviews.
Now, police say they're not looking for any kind of suspect in this case. They hope to release more information on the case later this week.
We also have more information about a deadly shooting, a double shooting that is, in Pike County. Investigators have identified the two men killed as John Rowe and Tommy Ellswick. The shooting happened early yesterday morning in the Island Creek community. The homeowner, who didn't want his face shown on camera, says he caught the two men breaking into his garage.
I came around the garbage box and this guy saw me, so he took off to the left side of the vehicle and stopped at the left side to get something out. And I went around the right side to keep the vehicle between me and him. And he came around through there with a gun, so I shot him. And the other guy came out of the garage with something, and I shot him. One collapsed at the front and one collapsed at the rear of the vehicle.
State police are now investigating this double shooting. So far, they have not filed any charges.
A man accused of kidnapping a mentally challenged child in Knox County asked a judge to lower his bond, but the judge denied Donald Rice's request and kept that $50,000 cash bond in place. Rice also pleaded not guilty to kidnapping during the hearing. Now, last week, police say Rice kidnapped an 11-year-old child from her home and drove her to a nearby field. They say neighbors and the child's family members followed and got the child back. Her family thinks that bond should be higher.
I don't want him up there around my great niece, and I'm sure there's other people don't want him around their children either.
Rice's court records show he has faced arson, assault, and burglary charges in past years. If he bonds out of jail, the judge says he cannot have any contact with the victim or her family.
A crash during rush hour traffic in Lexington sent one person to the hospital. This happened on Winchester Road near Patch and Wilkes. Lexington police say 5 cars were involved in the crash. One of the drivers was taken to the hospital with serious but not life-threatening injuries. Some families could not stay in their homes overnight because of a large fire at a Louisville apartment building. The fire started near the Eastern Parkway. Firefighters say no one was injured, but they say it did damage 8 apartments. 4 of them a complete loss. At this point, firefighters are not sure what caused the fire, but they say it does not appear to be suspicious. The American Red Cross is helping people who were forced from their homes.
The former chairman of the Kentucky Retirement Systems Board is suing Governor Matt Bevin over an executive order that removed him from that board. Thomas Elliott refused to leave after the governor removed him as board chairman in April. Last month, the governor used Kentucky State Police troopers to prevent Elliott from taking part in a meeting. Elliott is now asking a judge to throw out Governor Bevin's order and affirm that he is still a member of the board. On Friday, the governor got rid of the Retirement Systems Board and replaced it with the new board with some new members.
The Frankfort City Commission has approved a big change for part of Main Street. By a vote of 3-2, the commission passed a proposal to make Main Street a 2-way through Frankfort. Right now, a stretch near Wilkinson Street is 1-way. Supporters say making Main Street 2-way will help businesses, but others are worried about fewer parking options.
5:08 now on your Tuesday. WKYT This Morning is just getting started.
Nespresso bringing back Cuban coffee to the U.S. for the first time in 50 years. We've got that story coming up.
And it is officially summertime. You might have caught a glimpse there of that strawberry moon that helped usher in a new season. If you didn't, we got a good look at it coming up after Micah's forecast.
Some weather models throwing out some very heavy rain. Look at that, 5.7 inches coming in at Maysville through the next few days. Now, that's not going to be set in stone, but you're talking about some really heavy rain and some portion. I'm going to go over that and also severe weather threat coming up next. We're under a first alert severe weather day for the opportunity, or the possibility that is, of seeing strong to severe storms later on today. Not so much this morning. However, we do have a couple of showers back toward the eastern zones, sliding southbound. This in the next 20-30 minutes will be all over with. This will fall apart. It's just a light shower across 64. Heading toward Frenchburg. Frenchburg, I don't even believe it'll actually reach you guys. And there in West Liberty, too. So that's actually falling apart. We'll have a mainly dry morning, but we just can't rule out some storms later on this afternoon, as it looks like a pretty good opportunity for that. Anywhere from 2 p.m. to about 9 p.m. That is your best bet before it falls apart, and we'll get the next round in here tomorrow. Now, where's the opportunity? Where's the best chance to actually see strong to severe storms? Like yesterday I talked about, that 64 corridor in southbound, that is your best bet. It looks like, I would say, these actually form around the 64 corridor around 2 p.m. or so, give or take, and then it slides southbound. So southern zones, you'll actually get the brunt of this as opposed to the northern zones. Northern zones, there's not a good chance for actually strong to severe weather for today. Now we get in toward tomorrow, that's going to be a different story. We have a 3-day threat tracker for you. Today we're talking about those storms. Tomorrow, more storms in the forecast. During the morning hours, it doesn't look all that bad. There is a small chance that you actually get a rumble of thunder, but it's going to be right around noontime to into the afternoon hours. You see some dive on in here, and those will have strong winds with those. Damaging winds will be our main player the next 3 days. Not only that, but some heavy rain too. If you get one storm after another, there's no doubt about it 100%. That will lead to some flooding. You just got to keep that in mind, especially northern Kentucky, where we have had one storm after another when we've actually had rain chances in the forecast. Thursday, more storms with that severe weather threat. I'm still not fully sold on Thursday. That's one of those low confidence forecasts right now for Thursday. So we'll need to be watching that. Right now we're leaning more towards storms with a small chance at severe storms. But once we travel off into your Wednesday, we'll definitely have a better handle on that. Your 7-day forecast next 3 days, like I talked about, are going to be very active. We will be very busy in the next 3 days. And once we hit the Friday, Saturday time frame, that's when we start to see things really calm down. But today, Wednesday, Thursday, that's when you can see some of these storms roll on in. And they'll be strong, potentially severe storms too. So we're going to be looking at those temperatures there in the mid-80s, and also look for those strong storms, guys. It looks like afternoon and evening, all 3 days will have the best chance. So what that tells you is these are rounds of storms. This isn't going to be an all-day thing. And honestly, it's not going to be a line of storms. So there'll be bits and pieces here and there. That's why I'm telling you, watch out for one storm after another. That could lead to localized flooding too.
It definitely feels like something's a brewing out there.
Yeah, it's 75 degrees right now in Lexington. That's nasty. Not in the morning. You don't want that.
For sure. Thanks, Micah. It was cloudy here overnight, but a full moon did fill the sky on this year's first official summer night.
June's full moon is known as the strawberry moon. It's called a strawberry moon because it usually occurs about strawberry picking time in some areas of the country due to atmospheric conditions. The moon takes an amber color. Beautiful. Summer officially began at 6:34 yesterday evening. This is the first full moon to fall on the summer solstice since 1967. According to calculations, we are not likely to see these two events collide again until 2062, so you'll have to wait quite a bit.
For sure. Very pretty. It is now 5:15 on your Tuesday morning.
We have a look at your money. Stick around with us.
Cuban coffee is coming back to the U.S., and which generation is the worst at saving? I'm Brian Webb in New York. Those stories and more coming up in your Money Watch report.
Keep up with the latest news on WKYT.com. Join the conversation on Twitter and become a part of the WKYT Facebook family.
Welcome back to WKYT this morning. It's 5:19 now. Cuban coffee is making a comeback in the U.S., and apparently Generation X is the worst at saving.
That's surprising. Plus, Southwest employees getting a makeover. I thought it would be millennials. Brian Webb has the latest on your money.
66 million Americans have no money saved for an emergency, according to Bankrate.com. Gen Xers are the worst. 33% of 36 to 51-year-olds haven't saved a cent, compared to 27% for all others aged 18 or older. Reports that England is likely to avoid the so-called Brexit by voting to stay in the European Union later this week helped U.S. stocks jump on Monday. The Dow closed up 129 points. The Nasdaq gained 36. Nespresso is bringing back Cuban coffee to the U.S. for the first time in 50 years. Recent regulation changes allowed the company to reopen the market. Nespresso says the Cuban coffee will be available in America this fall. And Southwest Airlines is ready to show off its new employee-designed duds. The uniforms were tested by 120 employees in 37 cities for their fit, fashion, comfort, and durability. The airline will break out the new styles next summer. And that is your Money Watch report. For more, log on to cbsmoneywatch.com. In New York, I'm Brian Webb.
We have a food recall to pass along this morning. The National Frozen Food Corporation has issued a voluntary recall because of possible listeria contamination.
Now, the recall covers frozen peas and mixed vegetables packed by several companies. You can read that full list at FDA.gov. Green Cuisine, which is supplied by National Frozen Food, is recalling pesto pasta salad with arugula because of possible listeria contamination. There have been no reports of illnesses related to the recalled items, which can be returned for a full refund. It's now 5:20 on your Tuesday morning, and there's still a lot more to come,
including Look at Sports on the way next.
Rick Pitino not happy at all with John Calipari. You will hear why coming up next. Also, Charles Matthews, the former Wildcat, he does officially transfer. I'll tell you where. And tonight, the All-Star game for the South Atlantic League. That is on the way in sports.
Couple of sprinkles still left over in eastern Kentucky from a couple of rumbles up toward the northern zones late last night, but that's fading away. The morning hours doesn't look all that bad. Now, I will tell you this, it doesn't feel good outside. Like Rebecca was talking about, it's just nasty feeling. You know something's on the way when you step out the door. It's 75 degrees right now in Lexington and also Richmond. 76 in Frankfort. That's a nasty feel when you step out the door. We get into your afternoon. Here's your strong to severe weather threat. And now remember, this is no widespread storms, okay? You will get some storms, but they're bits and pieces here and there across 64 corridor. That's where they look to develop and move southbound. That's where we're going to see the bulk of it is really southern Kentucky south of I-64. That's really the main area we're going to be watching for. Now, the main threat will be damaging winds out of this, and also some very heavy downpours will cause some problems as we head off towards your afternoon and evening hours. Let's check out sports, see what's going on.
Rick Pitino responding Monday afternoon to comments made by John Calipari last week to Mike Lupica on his podcast. Pitino and his program have been embroiled in the escort scandal since last October. Calipari said on a podcast, most coaches have an idea about what's happened on their campus. He never said Louisville by name. Pitino went on WHAS and responded this way to Terry Miners.
The one thing I don't do is I don't live in a glass house. And I don't throw stones. We have a rule in the ACC amongst the coaches that unless you're praising each other and building each other up, keep it to yourself and mind your own business. Growing up as a New Yorker, the one thing I can tell you is if you're a neighbor and you're trying to help somebody, go ahead and help them and lend a hand. If you're not trying to help somebody, mind your own business and stay out of other people's affairs. So I don't want to comment on what anybody says unless it's upbeat and positive, because I don't live in a glass house.
Charles Matthews has found a new home. According to Jeff Goodman of ESPN, he is transferring to Michigan. After Matthews announced he was leaving in May, earlier reports had him going to Michigan or Xavier. The 6'6" guard will have to sit out a year. He played in every game last season for the Wildcats. Later tonight, the Whitaker Bank Ballpark will host the South Atlantic League All-Star Game for the second time. Festivities begin at 2:30 today, and they don't hold these types of events just anywhere.
But I think our ballpark is one of the finest in the league, and I have that opinion supported by other broadcasters, people who come in here from other stops around the league, and it's just a great place to watch a game and comfortable for the fans. We have the suites upstairs, so for special guests, that can be a great way to watch the ball game too.
That is a look at sports. We'll catch you out at the ball game later today. Have a great day.